Welcome to another episode of the Crack of Dawn. It's time to enjoy. I hope everyone is doing well this morning. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to let a few of you jump in while I'm getting my tea together. Good morning, good morning. What's up with these curls? They just want to go haywire on me. It's one of these mornings I see already. One of these mornings. Good morning, good morning. It is, once again, another episode of Crack of Dawn. This morning we are going to discuss the reason why we keep settling for the wrong partner. Why? Why do we keep doing this to ourselves? Why do we keep settling for the wrong partner? I don't know, but I do know it can be extremely frustrating. And then we keep repeating and repeating and repeating the same situation over and over. And then it's frustrating because we always want to have someone that we can depend on and someone we can care about. But unfortunately, how we choose is really difficult when we're not really paying attention to what we're attracting or what is it we're attracting in different people we're interested in. And why do we keep picking these same people over and over? So we're going to talk about this morning. Again, I want to let you know that I'm Coach Carla Nicole, and I want to welcome you for being here. Don't forget to share this video and pick up my book. It's called She's Beside Herself. This book is very good. Even if you're a man, woman, or whatever, it doesn't matter. She's Beside Herself really helps to deep dive into the way we mature emotionally. And it's not always easy to assume that we've actually matured to our actual chronological age. And actually, our age itself is subject to change. Even though, we could be, for me, I'm 52, but anyway, if I have a client, they could be 56, 57, and emotionally, their mature age is only maybe 11, 12 years old. Yeah, so for us, the mature women, we're happy that we're a little younger because we love our youth. We love it. But in the world of emotional maturity, we'll find out that loving our youth is fine, but we need to evolve to get to the next age, the next emotional age. And in doing that, it just takes real self-study. It's not easy to be on the planet and calling ourselves emotionally mature when we're basing it on how many days on the planet we've been here. That is not really a great measuring tool to see if we are mature or not, because just because we're here doesn't mean we're self-studying, doesn't mean we're working on self, doesn't mean we're doing any self-loving. None of that is really even even considered. The only thing we consider is, oh, I've been here this long. And of course, you know, every 365 days. We're excited, we're celebrating, and yet we're not really grading how we're maturing. Um, and the thing is, of course, with any type of tool, I've created a tool called the Soul Freeze test. And even with my tool, the Soul Freeze test, if I show, people on social media, this is the measurable of where you fall. Everyone wants to be, in their evolved maturity. They just want to be the best. And it's like, but are you the best? I understand that you desire to be that, but that's come from our way of being in school and always wanting A's and always wanting to, have the 3.0, 4.0, 5. We always wanted to be the best. But in this type of setting and in our realm of understanding, emotional maturity changes and varies very often. So we can't get caught up in, oh, I'm already mature, I've made it, I'm this age. It's like you're that age, yes, chronologically, but emotionally, you're not where you need to be. Your age may be 11, but don't get offended or feel away because your age is younger. That just tells us that's where your growth can start. Now that you're aware, the power of awareness is so important because when we're aware and we learn something about ourselves, the easier it is that we can start making changes, that we can start making improvements, that we can start to sit down and realize, oh, so these are the areas that I need to, check in and work on. So I want you to know that the real reason that we keep choosing the partners we're choosing is because we are comfortable with familiarity, with the type of people we've dealt with in the past. So because we have that type of um, actual experience, we tend to get excited about anyone that looks like that. So, for instance, if we were in a past relationship, past love affair, we will find out that we're more drawn to people that are a little more abrasive in their personality, even when we're dating them. So, say for instance, we're on a date and we might come up with a topic that we want to discuss, and the next thing we know, we're in a heated debate about what's right, what's wrong, our perspective, our way of seeing things. And we'll really draw to this person because in our past relationships, we had a lot of combative back and forth, and it seems familiar as an example. And so, because of that being our past experience, and we had a relationship that we were with, we attract to that. Now, does that mean that attraction should be developed? Not, it depends. Because, yes, we might like to have the back and forth, the argument, the challenges in the beginning, yes. However, let's go farther down into the relationship, and did that get more volatile? Did that get more crazy? Did that get more drama filled? So if you realize, oh, I am attracted to people that want to debate me, or want to have those back and forth conversations with their opinion, my opinion, their opinion, my opinion, and I'm drawn to that. Well, yes, but let's look at it in a different spectrum. And your like of that, is that because you like it because it's familiar and you've only dealt with people that you went back and forth with? Or, good morning, Daylise, or is it that this type of person you continue to get with because it's someone that you continue to have a combative relationship with because you're used to that? So you have to look at, why am I drawn to this type of person? And if you realize that all of your, we'll just say past 2 or 3 lovers, you always were attracted to them because they were debatable, or they loved having debates with you and going back and forth. But when we look at it and we think about it, now that you've already left that relationship, what was your main issue with that relationship? It was that it got volatile. It was argumentative. you begin to feel the reason why I am so frustrated by the fact this person is constantly making me angry. And now it was fine in the beginning because you were able to exchange energetically. You were able to exchange the back and forth and he ha ha ha, and I see this and you see it that way, and we're going back and forth and being in debate, not realizing that long term, after a while, it's going to end up becoming something that you dislike about them. The main thing that draws you to them in the beginning is the very thing that turns you off in the end. So, with that said, we now have to get away from looking at, I'm drawn to people that likes to see things differently than me. Okay, that's fine. But remember, in your past relationship, look at the ending, do a relationship autopsy, and remember, what was it? What was your biggest disdain or aggravation or disappointment in that love affair? And you'll go back and say, you know what? I really was disgusted with the fact that we argued all the time. We couldn't be in the same room without having a disagreement about something. Right. So, what I want you to think about is, if we look at emotional immature partners, we need to pay attention to what gives us the moments of connection. So, like I said before, we have to look at our relationship autopsies and go back and look at it from a different lens. Let's stop getting so caught up in, I like them from this type of lens, because that type of lens is what causes you, if we look at it now, to have the most aggravation and agitation to begin with. Now you're aggravated with that lover and you no longer are together, but the very thing that drew you to them is the very thing that pulled you away from them. Hi, I'm Coach Carla Nicole. Welcome in. I'm glad you're here. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. This is Coaching Matters. I don't want you to forget also that I have a book called She's Beside Herself. This book is phenomenal to help you understand your emotional age. Your emotional age is not the same as your chronological age, but it does show you where you are in your maturity. What age are you as far as in your maturity, in your emotional attitudes and things you do, just how you make decisions, how you handle yourself. She's Beside Herself is a phenomenal book. I reference it when I coach my clients. We can discuss, I might be in my, my 10 to 12 year age, 10 years old age sector here, and what do I need to do to evolve to 12? We're not going to go from 10 years old to 30. That's not how this works. You have to take your baby steps to evolve and take your time with it so that you can learn that maturity is something completely different than chronological. Chronological just means you're here. You're still breathing, you're still here. But emotional maturity is a completely different thing, which means you have to take your time, you have to baby step yourself, and you have to be patient. And you also have to be aware of yourself, be aware of your patterns. What are you doing in your relationships? And look at it to a point where you're fine tooth combing yourself and paying attention to what it really is. Okay. So let's take a look at something. I want you to pay attention to this, because we go from confusing attention with intention. So what that means is, emotional immature people, they have a time where they have moments of connection. Moments. So in the connection, remember I used the first couple as an example, as an actual example. They have moments of connection. So the moments of connection is usually the moments where they're like, oh my gosh, we're relatable. But what they're not realizing is, in the relatability, they have a undeniable connection through a space where it can go into a whole different version of being kind and cool to being belligerent and rude. Because sometimes those people that want to have a relationship, that they connect because of their combative argument or back and forth, they actually think, yeah, we get along, so we're able to disagree. It's like, now, but invite other things in your life and in that connection you're in, and be it that you're together and now you're connected as far as you're in a relationship, now all of a sudden you're combative, you're back and forth, you're arguing and stuff like that is now becoming an issue, because now it's not from a space of we're just enjoying being, seeing things from a different perspective, but now we're arguing about who's doing what. Now that's a whole different energy, because now the arguing style that you two have is now showing and representing in your relationship, regardless of what's going on in the relationship. You're arguing over silly stuff, you're arguing back and forth, and it's not healthy. Now, people unconsciously choose what's familiar. So that's fine, but it's not always healthy. So I want you to pay attention to the unevolved lovers. So unevolved means they're not evolved in their emotional maturity. They self-date their memories. I'm going to say that again. The unevolved lovers self-date their memories, not their maturity. So now let's think about that for a second, because I don't think we think about this. We self-date more than we realize. We rehearse what we're going to say in our private moments. And when we're dating, we have a tendency to say things that feels familiar, that reminds us of certain things and features certain emotional things that we really get drawn to. So for example, we'll get drawn in to something that we remember back in the day with our ex, and we'll just connect them as though they are of the same being. That's not the case. But if our ex used to do this as far as emotionally, then we all automatically assume that he's going to do the same thing, as an example. But that's because we're dating our memory. We're not dating the actual lover's maturity. And this is why when you take my soul freeze test, it will help you to encourage you to help. Oh, I didn't know that. Hey, Satori, I didn't know that I had these emotional tugs and pulls on me. I didn't realize that that was the reason that I was so caught up in that lover. That lover I was drawn to because I thought this lover was like my ex, and my ex used to do the same thing. Right, but the problem is you're not thinking about, oh, I actually am dating myself because I'm still stuck on my old past all the time. That's fine, but it's not realistic. You have to pay attention to how your evolved lover is, where they're at. So again, we're going to use the first example that I showed you earlier. Does this lover that you are with, does this lover have a tendency to do actions that you were drawn to from a past lover? If that is the case, do your autopsy of that love affair. Now listen to me. When I say an autopsy, I'm talking about a lot of times we get drawn in and pulled into connections that may not be healthy based upon a past love affair. And then let's not also get caught up in the lifespan of that love affair, because we spend a lot of time getting caught up in, I was with him for 13 years. I was with her for 10. I was with her for 11. That's fine. And I get it. But the lifespan doesn't mean that holds the best measurable to determine if it was a healthy love affair. So let's just get rid of the lifespan, because we get so caught up in saying how long we've been together. We celebrate how long we're together with someone, but that's not really a measurable that you want to think about to draw you in, to make you excited or happy or determine as a determining factor about the new person that you're dealing with now. So again, pay attention. Do a relationship autopsy, and when you do that, you want to comb through not just what drew you into the lover, but what pulled you apart from the lover. So what I'm saying is, pay attention to, why did you part ways? Yes, in the beginning, well, we did get along great. I did enjoy this person. We did have a good fun time. You're only remembering the memories that make you feel good, that make you enjoy about that person. But what you're forgetting is, why did it end? And then you'll go back and be like, ooh, we did have a lot of arguments. Yes, but you also met through being argumentative. You were debating at the date. You were going back and forth. Oh, why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep doing this? Well, why did you part ways? Well, we argued all the time. We couldn't see eye to eye. We couldn't get along for nothing. In the She's Beside Herself book, I explained to you that it's important to know the 3 R's: how you react, how you respond, and how you resolve in your love affairs. If you don't know what I'm saying, then you need to pick the book up. How you react, how you resolve, how you react, and how you resolve the relationship is very important. Because again, when you get involved, our response and how we respond to someone and what they say or what they don't say is very aggravating. So be aware of why you parted ways. Pay attention. And here's something that I also want you to remember. You got with this person because you just wanted to settle down, right? So we settle because we just want to settle down. We come to a space sometimes where after a while we kind of have a fed up space, or we get tired, or we're just wanting to just make stuff just one way. We're just trying to get it to be basic. I don't want all the drama. I don't want all this back and forth. I don't want all these multiple partners. I don't want all that. I want to be a minimalist in love. I want to just have something simple. And so when you start to draw to this love or this person, you start drawing to them because you're sitting back looking at, you know what? I think because we have this connection, I think it's a very good time for me to go ahead and settle down. Well, this is a actual head decision, not a heart decision. The head decision is deciding, I think it's time for me to just shut this down. I've had enough of what I've seen so far. And I get it. We all have our moments where we're just tired. We just want to just get everything back to a minimalist kind of style because we just want things to be our way. Yet we're not realizing that in real love affairs, we have to allow the love affair to evolve without us trying to stick it in a box. Okay, so we're trying to stick it in a box, which means we're trying to define everything. We're trying to define it to where this is what we are. This is what we are to each other. You don't know that yet. You're in the beginning stages of a love affair, and you guys combative and stuff at the table, and you enjoyed each other, and oh, we can see eye to eye, we can have a difference of opinion, and everything's great. Yes, but at the end of your last relationship, you started off the same way, and now you're in this relationship you're in now, and guess what? Most likely, the high chance is you're going to end up getting argumentative and back and forth with this next love affair because you can't see eye to eye. Again, I'm helping you to see the patterns we're doing. We're not being honest. And we also have a tendency to date from our emotional wounds. So when we're interested in somebody, we also pull from, oh, I went through this, and then we start talking to each other about what happened in our past affairs because we're trying to connect, right? We're trying to get to know each other. Well, in my past, we never tell the new person the truth, how good the old relationship was in the beginning. We talk about all the things that went wrong. And then that lover tells you the same thing to give you the list. But we never say, well, we just outgrew each other. Now, those that say they outgrew each other, those are the ones you want to hear. Well, what do you mean by outgrow? How did you outgrow someone? I'm confused. How did that happen? Here's where it gets interesting. Outgrowing means emotionally I matured while the other person either got stagnant and stayed the same, or they began to regress in immaturity. So when someone is at the same as you're growing in maturity and this lover is stagnant and no longer growing, guess what happens? We say we outgrow someone. We say things out of our mouth but don't realize what we're saying. So now this new partner is hearing you say, oh, you outgrew someone. So that means to this new person, oh, good, so you've matured. Not necessarily. It might mean the other person was 10 and I moved to 12. I may have gotten older as far as emotionally mature, more mature than this one, but that doesn't mean I'm at my full state of being emotionally elegant. That doesn't mean that. It just means that I got older than this one. And then we started getting into more of like, I ended up being his mom, or we ended up being in this affair that wasn't really equal to each other to where we can both grow. And so, with that said, we have a tendency to get frustrated because we're like, well, I thought in this love affair, I enjoyed it or whatever, but it just got to the point where I just outgrew them. Now, when sitting at the table across from each other, we're talking about this, but here's the truth. When that person said they got emotionally outgrew that person, guess what that means? That now means that, oh, you know what? This person has a tendency to want to grow emotionally. Even if they're not 30 elegant level yet, this person has a tendency to want to grow. And when you hear someone across the table telling you that, yeah, in my past relationship, I outgrew my past lover, that's when you want to start paying attention, because now you have to go inwardly and ask yourself, well, am I someone that really wants to grow? Am I someone that wants to, mature? Do you work on doing stuff for you? And I'm talking about self loving. If you're here on this show right here, you're someone that is willing to wake up at 7 in the morning and come over here and do this work. That's huge. That means you're someone that is really about growth, really about taking the time. Good morning. What's up, D Nice? Really about growing. If you're on this call, you are wanting to mature. You're wanting to do some self work. Right, but remember what I said. When a lover that has potential, that you're connected with, that really wants to see how you're doing and meet you and get to know you, when this person tells you in their ex relationship they outgrew them, that is a very good sign. Sometimes people will look down on that. Like, what does that mean? Like, how do you outgrow someone? So they didn't do anything wrong? Well, now, wait a minute. We have a tendency to go here and not thinking. When someone says they outgrew someone, it doesn't mean that the person did something wrong. It just means that the person doesn't have a deep desire to evolve, to grow up, to be more intentional on working on self-work, to self-studying, to maturing. That's huge when you're talking about being in a love affair and you are constantly on the grit and grind to learn more about how you can get better for you. It's not a bad thing. We don't say every love affair ends because it's always some type of bad situation. Sometimes love affairs end because love affairs are outgrown. Yes, outgrown. And if someone tells you that I was in a relationship and we just outgrew each other, that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. It means they just knew this person isn't really about self work, and I am. And eventually it is going to get to that point where I'm looking at you like your mature level is very low and I feel like I'm dealing with a child. Well, let's do the score. Yes, you are dealing with a child. Yes, this person can be intimate with you. They can go to work every day. They can have children. They can make good love to you and all of those things. But when it comes down to it, when you look at their mature level, when you pay attention and you see, ooh, they don't react very well. Ooh, they respond without even sitting down and paying attention to what they're saying. They don't ever think about how to fix anything and resolve it and come up with solutions. This person is not really, they're not mature. And so you're constantly feeling like, I can't be with this type of person if this person doesn't want to grow up. They're just feeling like, oh, I'll be here because I just know that we're in a great space. That doesn't mean anything. So any of you have any questions about what I've said so far? I think it's very important that you pay attention to if a person tells you that they've outgrown their last lover. Pay attention to that. That's very important. Does this person know how to resolve? Does this person know how to react? Does this person know how to hold back? How's their patience level? All of these things are more important than to, we get a great argument going and I enjoy it. And then we have this back and forth. And then the end, you're like, oh, we're arguing all the time. And I can't do this anymore. I'm so over it. But that's what you chose in the beginning because it was very, very, very familiar with what you had in the past. Comb through your relationships, loves. Pay attention to what it was in that love affair that caused you to end. What was your biggest argument at the end of it? Why did you end in the relationship? What happened? Why did you guys split ways? Were they really mature or were they a child in a grown woman, grown man's body? Because there's a lot of people that still throw tantrums. They still have back and forth where they have attitudes. And they still have outbursts and things of that nature, or they're still combative with you, or they always want to spark up drama, or they have to have your attention. All of those things come from a very immature space. Pick up my book, She's Beside Herself. This will help you a lot with understanding how to determine someone's true emotional age. It's fine, but when you sit down and look at it, how do you really know if someone's age is what it is? Are they really this age, or are they actually, are they really actually 12 years old? And you can tell, trust me. You can take my Soul Freeze test. It's $47. And in the Soul Freeze test, you will find out where you fall. Where am I at? Because a lot of times when we're frozen in our thinking, in our attitude, in our soul, we have to learn to thaw out. But we don't know that we're frozen. We're just cold to all of our lovers. We're cold. After a while, we just get mean and nasty and don't touch me. That comes from a cold space. That's what that is. Your soul is frozen. So the Soul Freeze test is on my Patreon. I will have the link here, or even if Daylise wants to shoot the link, you can get like I said, the Soul Freeze test is $47 and you can take it. And that Soul Freeze test is going to give you some insight, but you also get to get a actual talk with me, to where we can conversate about where you are and what is the best coaching plan to help you thaw out. Because yes, we might walk around and look the part, but we're very frozen and cold on the inside. And over time, just from decisions we make and how we handle ourselves, it causes us to be very messed up. So I have a really good question come up from Daylise. She asked, what about familiar characteristics of someone of your past choosing someone in your present? What about familiar characteristics of someone of your past choosing someone in your present? That depends, Daylise. Great question. So say, for instance, that you are in a relationship, or you have a desire to be in a relationship with someone you're kind of interested in, or you're considering being full-time with, and they have certain familiar characteristics. Look at the characteristics very closely. Do these characteristics actually mesh with you on a harmony and in sync with what and who you are? So for instance, if your past lover was very, you thought at the time, kind of judgmental of things you did, and they were kind of critical, we could call it. They're a little critical of you. They kind of told you things that you didn't like to hear. And now the new lover has those same kind of, those same kind of tendencies. Well, let's look back on it. If that's the case, if there is a lover that you're dealing with that has a tendency to be critical, are the criticisms accurate? Because a lot of times in the book, She's Beside Herself, I explained that we oftentimes are very quick to temper. We are so quick to temper or so quick to get offended that we have a tendency to shut down some very good things that maybe will help us with our growth. In other words, if someone that you're in a relationship with has a tendency to be critical, and the criticism is very, very, very true, but you don't want to admit it to yourself, rather than getting offensive right away. So remember, how you react is huge. How you respond is another way, and then how do you resolve it? So rather than being quick to react, what we need to do, if that person is having those types of tendencies, as an example, he may be telling you, hey, you're not doing such and such and such and such, or these are some of the things I'm seeing that you could work on, rather than being like, what do you mean? Reaction. What do you mean? I am this. I am doing my work. I know what I said. And you jump to getting offended. That means, and this can happen, it doesn't matter that you might have a great score today. It might mean that you are, 18 and you're progressing. That's great, but there's a very quick possibility, depending upon how the trigger happens, because that person's telling you something you don't want to hear. It may throw you back to acting like you are 10 or 11. The reason being is habitually and in your patterns, you used to have this same issue with an ex, as an example. And in that back and forth and combativeness, had you stopped, looked, and listened to what that person was saying, you could have said, you know what, I received that. You know what, I don't want to respond right now, but let me take the time to really see what you're saying and do some real true self-introspection. Let me study something that you're saying, because what you're saying may be useful for me that I didn't know or didn't realize. So don't take offense to every time someone's telling you something. Be more open to someone giving you a criticism, because the criticism may be accurate. It may not be accurate, or it may be something that they see and you're working on. But whatever that is, give yourself a chance to be open to hearing the criticism, to hearing the evaluation, to hearing, oh, this is something I see that I think you can work on. And then you won't feel so quickly offended and, oh my God, what does that mean? And I do all this work and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. It's fine. Yes. However, sometimes we can get really upset and offended because we're thinking that, oh, I thought that, you were saying something to me and I thought that this person was being offensive. No, this person cares about you. And you can tell because of habitually, they've done nothing but trying to help you, trying to aid you. And they also have a part of themselves working on themselves. So self-study also requires for your lover that you're involved with that may have these familiar characteristics. He may need to also do some self-study and self-working. You don't have to become like, well, yeah, but what about you? You don't have to do all that. I'm just saying that sometimes lovers will tell you some critical things that you see, and you might be, oh, okay, you know what? I get it. And since you're telling me this, I want to be very honest. I didn't realize it. Or say, okay, I appreciate it. Let me take a look at that. And just go into meditation. Take your time. Journal, write about what they said first, and don't write a reaction or a response to it. Just write down, this is what such and such said about what they noticed in my characteristics and what I do. Don't say anything else, just write it down. He said that and just be okay with it. Don't get offended, because one thing that we will do, which really hinders our growth, is when someone tells us something we don't want to hear, or someone tells us something that is vital to our personal growth. We'll turn it away and we'll shut it down. We'll be like, I don't want to hear that, because it's uncomfortable for someone to tell you that you're doing something not to your advantage. You're doing something that maybe you need to reconsider doing. Again, these are ways that we tend to just downplay because, oh, I don't want to hear that. And we have to realize that in our past love affairs, we have triggers from what happened before. But then if we look at the autopsy of the love affair, we'll start sitting back and saying, oh, you know what? He didn't mean harm. He didn't mean harm to me. He was telling me something that I can grow through. He can actually help me. So let me sit down and write this out. Let me review it for real. Let me see if there's where the truth is in the comment, because this is something that I can actually use to grow in myself. This is actually very good. But sometimes we get offended to the point where we shut down any understanding of what someone else is observing and trying to tell us of ourselves. And so this is some way that you can really work on that. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here. Don't forget to take your test. It is the Soul Freeze test. It is very good. It's $47 on my Patreon. Don't forget to go over on my Patreon. Patreon is one of my communities that I'm building, and I would love for you to be a part of that and be over there, because I'm really trying to make sure to gift my Patreon members a certain side of me that's a little more in depth. I go a little more deeper about things that I might say on YouTube or on Facebook. I might, just gift you a little something, but this way it helps to build, to improve certain things we don't know, because we can't just keep going in this like, oh, I got it, and you don't got it, because you keep having and settling for lovers that have the same characteristics. However, this is why I used an argumentative lover, so that you can realize that, yeah, I am drawn to that. Well, you were raised in an argumentative family. Y'all do all that arguing back and forth. But in the end, you found out that arguing is something that doesn't resonate with your soul. And so in your living soul, you ended up getting to the point where you couldn't take it anymore. You ended the relationship. And so because of that, that's why I'm telling you to do an autopsy on your relationship. Also, if you need any type of coaching, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My phone number is 844-5-WISDOM, extension 0. So the phone number is 844-5-WISDOM, extension 0. I'm currently running a special. My special is 6 weeks of coaching for $497. You get 6 weeks of coaching for $497. Okay. And then again, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Please don't forget to share this video, because a lot of people keep going right back into the same types and styles of relationships that really aren't healthy. They're really not good for them, but they keep going into them because of the familiarity, because of the usual, or even just settling for it because they just think it's time. It's just the perfect time to get in a relationship. It's like, you are coming from head knowledge. You're not coming from, are we evolving into becoming something? Or is it just because I'm thinking we should do this? Well, that's fine. But if you really want a solid love affair, you want to make sure that you're both growing. You're both into self-study. You're both trying to learning how to really truly evolve in yourself. You're really truly trying to build what you have. You're really trying to build you. And if this lover, like I said, sits across from you and tells you that they outgrew a past lover, that's a great sign, because that person is telling you, I am about growing. I am about evolving. Growing and evolving is important. Also, you can become a member on my Patreon. It's $20 a month to be a Patreon member. And in that soul tier, it will help you to evolve. I also have another tier called the listener tier. And it also is where you can actually listen to She's Beside Herself book, just $7 a month. You will get the actual phases of the book, and you will be able to really deep dive in She's Beside Herself. It will really help you. And actually, we don't have Ranting and Raving this Wednesday. We're canceling tonight's show, but we will have it starting next Wednesday. Unfortunately, some things came up, but we won't be on this evening. But again, make sure to go over there and subscribe to his channel, which is Javon Clark, Aggressive Church channel. Go over there and check it out. It's really crazy. He's a lot of fun. So he is my co-host. We do a show every Wednesday called Ranting and Raving. Unfortunately, we're not doing it tonight, but we will be doing it next week at 8 o'clock. So again, like I said, don't forget, grab your copy of She's Beside Herself. I do have it in an audio video book, or you can get it actually in an ebook. It comes straight to your email. And that book is $22.22. You can get it on Patreon, called She's Beside Herself ebook. And this is the book that I actually pulled the data from. I talk about the triple R spectrum that I went over. How do I react? How do I respond? And then how do I resolve? That's very important when you're learning about loving self, when you're learning about relationships. How do I react to someone when they are telling me something that maybe or maybe not true, but it's something that they are seeing in me that maybe I don't know? And in my ignorance of self, I might not know that part about me. So let me sit on that and ponder on that and evaluate that and see if there is some truth to it. And in learning about that, how can I improve it? Am I willing to improve it? How about that? Can I improve this? Because sometimes we're so stubborn in our ways, we don't want to hear nothing. I don't care about what they said or who said what. I don't want to admit to myself I'm wrong. I want to just go ahead and be okay with my madness. Okay. But you're not going to evolve. You're going to stay in where you're at, which is not a good maturity. And that's not something you want, because you're going to keep choosing like you did when you were in grade school or junior high or high school. And you're grown as hell. At this point, you want to start paying attention to, am I where I need to be? We're going on these dates evaluating how he's talking and where he's working, but we're not sitting down and talking about, how am I working internally? What am I doing for myself? Am I doing my self work? It's not hard. It's just something you have to do. You have to commit to self growth. You have to commit to self study. You have to make sure that you love yourself. I show this cup every time I'm here. More self-love. Every time I'm on here, I tell you how important it is to love yourself. And loving yourself means taking time to study yourself and allowing people to critique you without getting offended and taking offense to, he said this and she said that, and oh my God, I can't believe they say that about me. Well, is there some truth to it? Are you willing to take a look at what they're saying? Or are you just going to keep downplaying it like they always so critical of you? Maybe it's something you need to take heed to and stop downplaying it. Because I'm telling you what, if you don't take a look inside of you, you're going to keep dealing with the same lovers over and over and over. It's not going to get better because you're not changing what you're doing. You're going to get the same result. Trust me, I'm telling you. Take a look at yourself. Pay attention. It's not hard, but it's very deep when you do soul work. When you sit down and start studying your soul, you'll start saying, oh my God, I didn't realize I do these things. Yes, you do them. Any more questions before I leave? Any more questions? I haven't even sipped one sip of this cup. But just make sure to focus on your self-loving. Write down what you want me to talk about. Because I don't mind. I still got some time. So like I said, is there any questions that you want to focus on that really helps you to get more aligned? Like I said, to improve yourself, what you want to do is you want to allow people to tell you some things that you don't want to hear. I'm personally working on this. I'm personally working on doing things I don't want to do. For instance, if I'm working on this because it's a part of my coaching. How am I coaching somebody and I don't do it? I got to challenge myself too. So I do stuff to where right now I am personally working on doing things I don't want to do. For instance, I might have A pan in the kitchen. I know this seems small, but it's huge. I might have a pan in the kitchen and I've made some really good food, and I know all of that sticky stuff at the bottom of that pan, I'm going to have to scrape it and clean it and all of that. I get it. It's irritating as hell to have to do it. But now I get up and make myself do that. Prime example, I had a whole bunch of clothes, clean clothes, that I didn't feel like putting away. I didn't want to hang them up. I didn't want to put them in the drawers. I just was so tired. I'm doing all this work. I just want to be not, I don't want to have to do it. I made myself do it. This is an exercise that I'm going to start teaching because I think it's important. We get caught up in what feels good so much that we just go with what feels good. Anyone that's telling us something that's critical or helpful, we downplay it or we don't want to hear it. That applies to this. This is why I'm like, the scraping of the pan is something I didn't want to do, but by the time I get in there and I scrape the pan, it's not as hard as I thought it would be. And now everything that I'm focused on is irrelevant because I'm spending so much time trying to talk myself out of, well, you can do it later. Don't do it right now. The soul has a tendency to convince you to not do something that you need to get done. Do it anyway. That's what I'm working on with me, because I'm not a real true coach if I'm not coaching on myself. So I'm doing that for me. So you can take that or leave it, but anytime I say I don't feel like doing it, I make myself do it. Try it. It'll work. If it's something you've been holding back getting done, do it. Anything. Write it down. Write it down in the comments. What have you been holding back getting done? Is it cleaning your garage? Is it getting those clothes folded? What is it? Write it down in the comments, because this will help you to now own the fact that you've been holding back getting it done. Write it down. Get it done. I'm now in more pursuits of getting things handled and done. And in the other part of it, it's decluttering dailies. Okay, get it done. Start small. You don't have to declutter everything today, but get a box and start taking that stuff that is irritating the hell out of you, you know you're not using, and get rid of it. Either donate it to Goodwill or throw it in your trash bin. It's no sense in holding on to the stuff. Decluttering is a great example of how we will hold on to something and it's no longer valuable anymore. Yes, so start small. Get a little box and tell yourself, I gotta fill this box up. Start today. You don't even have to wait. After this call, just start looking around. What is it I need to compile, and get it in a pile, and then get your box later and put it in it, and put it in either Goodwill or put it over there in the trash bin. It's a waste. And energetically, that really does hinder things from getting done. Very simple. Anybody else got something that they're holding on? Write it down. Telling you, when you write down, it helps. Because I was really struggling with getting those folded clothes done. But I'm going to tell you what, after I did it, I felt a release. I felt a peace. I also had a broken down vehicle in front of my home. It was sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And I thought, let it go. You're not getting it fixed. Just get rid of that car. It's done. Once it got hitched up on that tow truck and pulled away, I felt an energy I can't describe, because I'm holding on to something that is no longer serving me. Why are we doing that? We do that all the time. Great example, and I'm out of here. We have to let go of things, because if we don't, it's like having a dead body, a casket sitting in your home. That's what that is. Think about that. Oh my God, this is another casket I'm just keeping in here that's no longer serving me. I need to get rid of it. It's done. It's not good. I know I'm holding on to it. Energetically, it's holding you back. You'll feel the peace once you get rid of the stuff. There's no sense in holding on to it. It is too much. Let it go. And when you do this, make sure to write in the comments, I did it. I got rid of it. Come back later after you get your stuff done, whatever it is. I did it. and share the video. Tell people, hey, look, I was told to just declutter. It was getting on my nerves. I was frustrated by it. Declutter it. Let it go. It's too much. It's holding you back. Energetically, when we're trying to grow, we can't keep holding on to old stuff, including old lovers' memories. Let that stuff go. Do your autopsy and close the book on it. It's over with. Let it go. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. Like I said, don't forget to share the video, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Coaching Matters, and I appreciate everybody that came today. Again, you guys matter. Don't forget to smile. If you don't remember, the smile mantra is study, meditate, inspire, laugh, and elevate. The smile mantra. Don't forget to smile today. It's your coach, Carla. Have a great day, guys. Bye.